All right, well, I hit the button. We're going.
Yeah.
I just want to know, Joel looks incredibly like neo-hippie Zen master this evening.
I'm not even going to say the name of what you said I look like. That name does not get spoken. Hi, everybody. Welcome to
the man bun is happening.
Oh, dude, the man bun is real. I'll take a screenshot real quick and put it on
the
grams.
Well, can you screenshot with the soda and the incense?
Oh man, that's a lot.
I know, because
I don't know if I can.
I think that'd be really great.
I just hold on. I just figured out how to do it.
Okay, everybody, it's happening. This is great. It's going to be totally worth this little delay.
I don't know how I did that.
I don't know, but that was amazing.
Well, I took a screenshot, but the soda.
All right, fine.
I'm drinking a Hank's. Welcome to the Trying to Be Better with Joel and Steve podcast. This is Joel and Steve, brought to you by Hank's seasonal pumpkin spice soda that my wife didn't drink. Hank's, always crisp.
Looks crisp. I'll just drink.
How you doing, buddy?
I'll just drink. I'm good, man. I'm just gonna be drinking my grapefruit LaCroix.
The pamplemousse?
Pamplemousse, yep. It's pamp time. It's pamp o'clock, as we say in our house.
Pamp yourself. Toot your hooter. Pamp yourself.
Exactly. Same thing.
Dude, I think that stuff kind of tastes like beer.
Yeah, I don't. Some of them kind of do, but this one doesn't for me.
I think the pamplemousse tastes like beer.
Yeah, well, you can think that.
Well,
it's fine.
This pumpkin soda is
Joel.
Gross.
I think we had to. It's gross. Well, I think what we had to do is take our weird non-alcoholic beverages and toast to our new president,
Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Uncle Joe.
Right. Here, Uncle Joe Biden. Congratulations, cheers. 46.
Boom! I love it.
I was on a walk with our buddy Aaron this morning.
Yeah, he said that was good.
Yeah, and he was like, "It's like I don't know what happened, but somewhere around noon yesterday, I started feeling a little different.
Right? Feel a little lighter."
A little bit lighter. A little bit. And I said to him, I was like, I saw this meme, and I'm like, no matter where you fall on the, I think maybe you sent this to me. Maybe you did.
What is it?
Like no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, it was a big day for complete sentences.
I wish I would have sent that to you because that's awesome.
It was a big day.
It's a big day. I was talking to our friend Terry just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like they had a press briefing where people,
remember the press room? Remember press conferences?
Where people talked and everybody's questions got answered in a way that was respectful and like people used complete sentences and didn't insult people and they just had talked like people do.
And didn't lie about crowd size. There was a little part.
Right. Yeah.
There was a little part of me that hoped that the new press secretary would come out and say, "This was the smallest attended inauguration ever." Just be.
Right.
That's the shitty part of me, though. I wanted them to be like, "There was nobody there."
Right. Right. Yeah.
No COVID was passed around. Nobody was there. Check
Yeah. Sad.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Failed bigly.
I watched a press conference and they had today on I just saw a little bit of it. They reappointed Dr. Anthony Fauci to the World Health Organization. It's
amazing.
It's
amazing that we as a nation who, in our heads are the guiding light for the entire universe would rejoin an organization dedicated to the health of the entire planet.
During a global pandemic.
Yeah. Refire up the federal, I forget the name, but the federal body responsible for dealing with, global pandemics.
Yeah.
That the Trump administration killed, that it would have been really nice to have this year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But Fauci was in the press room today and somebody asked him hey, do you feel a little free? And he's like, well, I don't like to go against what presidents say, but it's kind of weird to be, be in a spot where nobody's following the science. And it's really nice to be in a spot where people are now. And it was like, duh.
Right.
And that's a softball. That's a softball for this administration. Be like, hey, let's put some scientists out there instead of,
do you follow Rob Rauner?
I
The
don't.
Well, he's has a YouTube channel, but he's a doctor in Lincoln. He also has
Oh, yeah, yeah,
he's a
yeah.
public health master's guy,
Yep.
so he knows some things. And he
Right.
runs a organization that manages doctors, and he's an
Right.
accomplished medical person.
Yeah.
And he still, I was watching his YouTube clip from yesterday or the day before, and
Yeah.
he's still just, he's very diplomatic in
Mm-hmm.
saying that it's completely flabbergasting that the state task force on coronavirus doesn't have any scientists or doctors on it.
What do they have? Do they have like, I don't know, like a somebody who owns a car wash chain
I don't
and
know.
and like
Mr. Pillow.
right, Mr. Pillow, or
Right.
like an assistant defensive line coach or something? Like who do
Something.
they
Right,
have on
yeah.
this?
I don't know.
Oh
But like
boy.
he was saying, he's like, these are the organization. He was using the flu vaccine and how effective the organizations he works with are at getting it out to people.
Right.
And he's like, none of these organizations might have been contacted about this. It's
Well,
just it's just departments of health arguing with each other.
that's crazy though, because the previous administration basically said we're gonna get these going and then let the states figure it out.
Right.
Which is, I guess, a way to do it.
But
then,
when your governor of your state doesn't believe in science or helping people,
it's funny. He loves to go. Pete Ricketts loves to go to the end of the earth to find shots to put in the arms to kill people on death row,
right, yeah,
but
yeah.
can't find a freaking way to put shots in the arms that would save somebody.
Right. Isn't that
super?
But Joel, hold on. The important thing to remember here is that he's pro-life.
I was gonna say, how pro-life of that guy?
Right. Yeah. It's really like what's the word I'm looking for? Obsequiousness? No. Ooh. I don't know.
Insanity.
Shittiness. Let's go with
shittiness. There you go.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, right. Let's find a bunch of drug cocktails that probably aren't even legal, but we're still going to get them in here and we're still going to shoot those fuckers up with it. But COVID vaccine,
that's got witch magic in it. We can't have that.
It's just, yeah, it's really.
I can't wait. How's your microchip doing? You got the.
I do. I got 2 of them in me now.
Nice.
Not as effective as tracking me as my cell phone is, but
have you had any symptoms from that?
I have thus far. The only symptom I had is after my second shot, I felt tired, kind of like when you're kind of under the weather and you just don't feel like doing anything. That's kind of what I had. But I know people that after the second shot got sick, didn't feel great, fever,
which is totally normal.
And it's fine.
That means it's working.
That's the other thing that Rob Rauner was talking about is that the mortality rate of the vaccine is 1/1000th of that of the COVID virus.
Wow.
So, take your chance.
Yep. Roll the dice.
Right. So yeah, there's that.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you didn't have any gnarly symptoms.
And that was just like I initially because since I work at a healthcare facility, I mean, there was a survey that went out a long time ago. It seems like now about like, would you take a vaccine when it first came out? And I said, no. Not if it's going to be brought to me by Jared Kushner because of political reasons, because we got the vaccine. Like, no, I'm not going to take that. Forget it.
Yeah. Right.
No. Right. But if Pfizer's involved, and there's an actual trial,
right?
And I, read up on the science behind how, thanks to modern technology, we're able to do things a lot faster and a lot more accurately, kind of pinpoint things like the mRNA and all that.
Right.
I'm not a scientist, but I'm like, that all sounds legit.
Mm-hmm.
And people that I know and respect that actually know things about medicine and science said, yeah, it's fine. Mm-hmm. And like the lab manager where I work was like, the risk of actually getting sick from the vaccine is still much less than the risk of getting really sick from the virus. So I'm going to take it.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. Trust people that know the things.
Right. Like people that actually have studied science and medicine for like half their lives.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I mean,
so
that's the hope. I mean, and here's the thing, like, in the last, I don't know, everybody that's listening knows where we stand. We've made that pretty clear.
But
in the last day and a half, I mean, here's the other thing too, just in the last day and a half, like aside from COVID relief, which is a huge deal, rejoining the Paris Climate Accord.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
That's a huge
deal.
Deal.
The fossil fuel companies, their profitability might go down a little bit.
I think they're going to be okay. I really
Especially as they adjust to the market and get into clean energy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And here's we as a human race can do hard things. Like I was just watching this whole thing about going to the moon. I mean, President Kennedy in 1961 said by the end of this decade, we're going to put a man on the moon and get him back safely.
Right.
And they did it. And they had like a fraction of the computing capacity that's in my car.
A
You know what I mean?
fraction.
A fraction of
small
that.
fraction.
And it's like we can figure things out.
Mhm.
It's just this idea that we, the mentality of
ain't gonna do no science on me.
well, going back to like we gotta go back. We gotta get back to something. Is like no. There's a lot of reasons why we've come thus far. Don't go back.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was part of the goal of the Trump administration, is to reduce us to a feuding tribal state.
Yeah. Right.
Just to take away any progressive ideas and just make us a bunch of warlords again.
Right. Everybody digging their heels for their own tribe.
Yep. And then fuck everybody else.
Right. Or their own group or whatever you want to say. And
the other can just pack sand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you and I kind of talk, we have a little bit of a talk break. I'm maybe shifting gears here, but I think this is a good way to train. It's a good way to segue for this is, one of the cool things in the last 24 hours that happened actually the night before the inauguration was an actual mourning ceremony for the over 400,000 souls that this country has lost to COVID-19.
Right.
That I saw that, and I saw the bells being rung, the lights being lit up, and people talking about it, and the moments of silence, and I started bawling, because I didn't realize how much we have not been allowed nationally. I mean, we can do that. Everybody has the personal responsibility to grieve,
right?
But just the language and the statements of this is happening. Mm-hmm. has been so denied for the last year. And it was not lost on me that Biden's inauguration day was 1 year from the first COVID positive American.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so it's like in 1 year, we've lost twice as many Americans that we did in World War II.
Well, here's a staggering number, and this is not exactly scientific, but we've lost 100,000 people in the last 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Right. All from a virus that's just like the flu.
Ugh. And it's the misinformation, the denial, the weird allegiance to conspiracy theories and bullshit quack scientists has kept us as a country from recognizing the truth and grieving. Mm-hmm. And it just speaks to sometimes that side of things has such an aversion to recognizing and looking at the gnarliness.
Say that side of things?
Yes, I did.
Jeez, Joel.
I know.
How judgmental of you.
I'm super judgmental because it's like, and that's part of what we want to talk about is this idea of reconciliation or unity. Yes. I mean, that seems to be kind of the word that I heard a lot in Biden's inaugural speech. That's what I hear the talking heads say on TV.
Right.
Like, I don't know, dude. What do you think? I mean,
well,
we've been trained. I mean, I didn't realize how much I've been trained to other certain supporters of, certain leaders. I'm guilty of it too.
That word unity is like, okay, so let's just take a moment and think about, John Lennon singing Imagine.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Where the world can live as one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like a dreamer to me.
You may say.
He sounds like a dreamer to me. And the reason I say that is because of the world that we live in currently. And it kind of sucks, that makes me sad to say that. But here's the thing about this is when I hear people that have actively spent the last, well, not just 4 years, but 20 years longer. How long's Rush Limbaugh been on the air?
Well,
actively actively sowing division,
Mm-hmm.
actively saying, oh, libtards, actively
Right.
name calling,
Mm-hmm.
actively feminazi,
Feminazi. Yeah.
actively just spewing hate.
Yeah.
Um, and then to have them turn around in the last 48 hours and say, really, what we need is to just let the past be the past. And really,
Yeah.
what that is saying is we don't want to be held accountable for our shitty actions.
Right. Right.
Really,
And I don't
that's
know.
all that is.
And I don't think it's possible to genuinely have unity without admission of fault or
Right.
admission of
And
mistake
it,
or admission of wrong, or like
right.
I saw things wrong, or
That
God forbid I was entranced by a cult like
here,
message.
here's the thing is that, like, for example, for people that are in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
what does the reconciliation process look like? It
Well,
involves going to the people that you have harmed
mm-hmm.
and telling them, I harmed you,
Yeah.
and not saying I'm sorry,
Right.
because that's bullshit.
Right.
Saying, how can I make it right? It's atoning.
Well,
and
it's
and
atoning. Yeah.
yes, and so if your drunk son, father, uncle, lover, whatever came to you after a brief period of sobriety and said, can't we all just get along?
Mm.
Can't we just let the past be the past? I mean, what would the response be?
Show me.
Yeah. Like,
Show me.
okay, great, fine, whatever. We haven't heard this before.
Well, the thing that I always tell folks, and that what was because I love the I'm sorries in the worst way, because it it uh it absolves me of actually having to admit that I'm wrong, and
Right.
at the core of saying I'm sorry, where that word comes from, is expressing that I'm sore. So
Right.
it's what you're saying is I am hurting.
I'm
So you're going to
hurting.
somebody that you've harmed and you say I feel bad,
I
or
feel
I'm hurting
bad. I'm hurting because
of
I
what I did.
because I
I'm
feel,
I'm hurting because I got caught. You know,
yeah,
I feel
right.
bad.
And that's
It's
what
not,
this is.
there's no amending.
No. Or
Right.
changing. To amend means to, like, change, to
Right.
fix, to,
Yes.
and that's not what this is about.
Well, and that's the thing, though, is like, if we really do want this idea of unity, and here, you know, a year ago, a year and a half ago, I remember having conversations with people I work with, and I remember being full on hardcore press progressive, you know, way left. And I remember thinking of like Joe Biden. I'm like, no, that guy is way too much. I mean, he's way too centrist. But
Mhm.
I was telling Kirsten, I'm like, maybe for at least for these 4 years,
He's the guy.
Joe Biden is the guy that could
Mhm.
actually try that.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, this is the hard part, and we're going to talk about some political waters that I don't necessarily want to and really like know all about. But I'm like, is there a way that his time in the Senate, his friendships with people, could get certain folks on either side of the aisle to say, yeah, I was wrong.
Right.
I was so
That's
angry
what
at the,
that's what it's going to take.
it's I don't see another way out.
There isn't one. Because if we have people like, what's that fuck from Missouri, Hawley?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like people like that. No,
Yep.
he's staking his fame claim on being that guy,
Being that guy.
doubling down on the Trump model. And here's the thing about all that is that we ain't done,
Mm-mm.
because the next wannabe authoritarian dictator, racist in chief, thug
Yep.
leader, dear leader, isn't going to be incompetent like Donald Trump was.
He's gonna be a lot. He or she is going to be a lot smarter
A lot smarter. She,
and a lot younger.
yeah, and a lot younger. Yep. And they will, and well, think of Sarah Palin, only not stupid,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Waving the gun and the Bible and the flag all at the same time, juggling them, you know,
I
mesmerizing
can
the
see
face.
Russia from my house.
Oh my God, look at her. She's pretty fine, and she's juggling the Bible and the flag and the guns. She's really something, ain't she? Right? And then all
Yeah.
she has to say is, though, they're coming for your stuff.
Right.
And they're going to go, she's going to protect us from them taking our stuff.
Right.
And that'll be it.
Yeah. I think unity, and here, if we do get too centered or dug in on, well, no, there's no way that we're going to come back for that, or this idea of like, Yeah, I do think that they're like, at least the Biden administration right now is walking back the things that are strategically important for him to walk back.
Yeah.
But also I think that they do need to involve Congress and not just rule by executive order. And I think that, yeah, we have to get to a point where we can, I would just want, I want to get back to boring policy.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to
Right.
get
That
back to
wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
I want to get back to like roads and bridges and healthcare policy.
Wouldn't that be
and
nice?
yeah,
I loved all the people. It was like, Monday, and people are saying, I don't think we're going to see Trump's healthcare plan.
I'm beginning to think we're not going to see the big plan that he has.
See the big plan, all the genius plans with the best people. Was that not a thing? I missed. Did we miss that? The healthcare?
Yeah.
Fix?
Did they release that?
I know they tried to destroy the Affordable Care Act with no plan to back it up.
Replace and replace and no, we don't have a plan.
Destroy and let people just twist in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because cruelty.
Well, because dollars. Well, cruelty, yes, but because dollars, because money, because it's we're apparently, and that's the other thing is like when you take the thing that's most hurting other people, enslaving other people, marginalized communities being slapped around and oppressed is definitely a part of the problem of authoritarianism. The other part of it is just the anti-intellectual message that people aren't smart enough to figure things out, and there's no trust in the American people to figure it out. No trust in scientists to figure out a vaccine or whatever. There's no trust in civil engineers to figure out cool stuff. Like there's just no faith in the people. Right.
Well, that's kind of a prevailing attitude at some levels of like, well, they just need to be told what to do.
But that's the weird thing about the right, that side of things is, I see people are like, well, the drum of the Republican Party for so many years was anti-big government, but then you just abdicate everything to a fear.
Right. Yeah.
And like, that doesn't really compute with me. So I'm just very confused.
Right. That's kind of funny.
It is really weird.
He's going to free us from the enslavement of, I lost my train of thought.
Right. Well, it's also too like even the weird conspiracy theorists, like the weird QAnon wackos, they were still believing that there was some sort of surprise plan that was going to come about. And that's like that sort of blind faith in a savior that's going to, it's like, but they're also the same people that are like anti-big government, and it doesn't match up with me. Maybe somebody out there can.
I was talking with a friend of mine that we both know that's going to remain nameless, but who was talking about a relative of his who was saying yesterday that Trump was going to work out, where he was still going to be president. There was a surprise coming.
Even now?
Yeah. After the inauguration, it's like, wow, you're totally unhinged.
That's not just that's a full-on rebellion coup.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's and then I follow one particular subreddit that kind of trolls the whatever alt-right QAnon forum, so I don't have to, and just picks out the good stuff basically. But it's like just endless streams of people saying things like either one of my favorite themes is, I think Trump was I think he was a plant from the deep left to destroy the GOP.
Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's amazing.
So there's a theme. Not that he was a stooge of the Russian government to destroy the United States and to turn us into a feudal, warring, internal shit show.
Right.
Not that, but he was a plant from the deep left.
What?
Yes, that's a thing.
So Trump was Antifa.
Yes, in a nutshell, yes. And so that's why he betrayed them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then the other theme that is prevalent is like just shock and disbelief that he abandoned them. Because that's what he does. I mean, like the level of just blindness there, because that's what he literally does to everybody. Every single person that he touches gets fucked.
There's a lot of people that still have not got paid by Donald Trump,
Rudy Giuliani
Incorporated.
might end up being one of them, which is hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Wouldn't that be funny? Rudy thought he's making 20 grand a day and
No,
pennies on
I
a dollar.
don't think
buddy.
he's going to see that money.
No, isn't that funny? I mean, that's
is, but also
so here's back to our topic. Go ahead.
Here's if you want to talk about unity, yes, you talk about reconciliation and admission of fault and ability to amend, and I'm willing to do that too. But at the same time, you have to. I mean, this goes back to a more mindful look at things. I saw a video of a Trump supporter who was very, very hurt. She was crying. She was saying, "What? This a feeling of abandonment."
Right.
I don't sympathize with white supremacist, Nazi, authoritarian ideology.
Right.
But I can look in the eyes of another human being and see their pain. And that was legit abandonment and pain.
Yeah, I get that. That's what we're talking about. My friend Brian talking about that. We mentioned that last week. Like that he felt bad for them.
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to go there for them.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I'm sorry, you were really stupid.
Yeah,
and not just stupid, but hateful and stupid.
Hateful is, but yes, hateful is hateful and hurting others,
and being cool with it.
But is there? I mean, in this, I'm just posing a question. I'm not coming from any spiritual hilltop just because my hair is in a man bun. Is there a possibility of finding compassion and forgiveness for those who even are hateful? Is that possible?
Well, yes, it is possible. And that book, the hell's it called now? The Joy Book with the Dalai Lama and all that.
The Book of Joy.
The Book of Joy. Thank you. Which again is amazing. That, I mean, they talk about like people whose kids have been murdered.
Yeah.
Forgiving the murderer, even in one case, having the murderer come work for them.
Yeah.
Like as a sign of reconciliation, like
so
that they could have peace. Like they could hate this fuck, or they could have him. They could forgive him and employ him.
Yeah.
And then they get the benefits of that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that is a spiritual hilltop.
And if it's possible there,
right,
then it's possible to, I mean, that's the thing is if both sides in an argument are unwilling or and I've been guilty of this, just digging my heels in and crossing my arms so tightly because I don't want to be vulnerable enough to say that I was wrong or I'm misguided or even just listen. As long as both left and right, Republican, Democrat are doing that, we can have hard conversations about signing up and giving freedom to a dictator to, destroy democracy. We can talk about, we ought to be able.
That's what happened in the last 4 years.
That's exactly what happened.
Yes.
But if we don't, like, America has never been good at learning from its mistakes, or at least admitting its mistakes.
Right.
Slavery.
We have
genocide
there. Right.
We've got some problems with that.
Problems there.
But
see, you don't have to do that when you're number one. See?
So
what number one, and you're the king of the world, and you can go around and just,
But what do we lose by losing that American exceptionalism? And like we could right now, saying we're going to listen to our better angels and we're going to say that we're not necessarily number one, because I can't imagine that the whole world wasn't looking to how this inauguration went and saying, okay, if the United States of America can sort of rebuild this and move forward, then it benefits everybody, not because we're the best, but because we've been able to sustain some semblance of a democracy for over, 250 years, whatever.
That's Rob Bell talked about that in a podcast last year about the American collective, what America is struggling with, and where a lot of this, for lack of a better word, Trumpism probably stems from, is the fact that due to our own actions, things like not taxing the wealthy at all.
Yeah. Right.
And on and on and on, like our society is faltering,
Yeah.
and America collectively does not know how to handle that. America does not know how to take an inventory collectively and to have a fact finding look at where we actually stand, because that would require self seeking. It would require a process that nobody enjoys. Nobody wants to admit their faults freely until they're forced to, right?
Right.
Except for people who just do that because that's what they do. But that's not something that America's been in the game of. America's been in the game of kicking ass and being number one, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like the first step in recovery, admitting powerlessness, admitting
100%.
unmanageability.
Here's the thing: like after this, I heard this shortly after, probably a year after 9/11, where, shortly after that happened, we invaded Iraq on false pretenses.
Yeah.
Right. And and so, and I can't remember who was talking about it, but the idea that if after the towers went down and the plane flew into the Pentagon, if you believe that was a plane, if we collectively as a nation would have sat back instead of rattling our swords and starting an offensive measure, which again didn't really have anything to do with 9/11, but that's, my kids have been taught that was because of 9/11, which is just insane to me.
Wow.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But if we would have collectively sat back as a nation and said, why are these people so mad at us? Like, why would they want to do that to us?
Yeah.
And then we go back and we look at the history of, like, I don't know, the CIA and their countries.
Right. And
the fact that we overthrew democracies.
That's what I was going to say. The complete decimation and, for lack of a better term, like rape and pillaging of resources in that part of the world.
Yes.
Just for our own. That's really the American way, is just sucking resources and killing anybody in the path that is trying to get,
Noam Chomsky has said for years that America hates democracy.
Yeah.
Unless it's going our way. But if there's a country that has a democratically elected leader that says, actually, we're going to use our resources for our benefit.
Yeah.
And we say, how about we just have a little coup?
Right.
How we just install some shitty dictator.
I drink your milkshake.
I drink your milkshake. That's exactly right. I'm finished. That's exactly right. And had we done that and said, God, no wonder they're so furious. No wonder they want to take us down. And if we collectively sat back and just had a moment nationally of acknowledging those harms and said, you know what? Instead of investing billions of dollars a day in an ill-advised and completely unjust war in a country that didn't really have anything to do with this, how about we build some schools and hospitals?
But that would require, this is where the domino starts to fall, though, Steve, because if you start doing that there, then you have to look at manifest destiny. You have to look at the indigenous people of this land. You have to look at slavery. You have to look at that, and then you have to draw the connect the dots between those actions and how Black and brown indigenous folks are being treated now, how they're policed differently, how they're judged differently. If you start, that's the thing, though. That's tough work, but maybe I'm a dreamer. Maybe you'll say I'm a dreamer, but I think it's possible.
It's kind of starting to happen. Like, for example, in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yep.
Tulsa, Oklahoma is one of the site of the greatest mass killings, basically, of African Americans in this country, outside of slavery. But there was my brain just went blank on the history.
Well, because he was being touted as Black Wall Street.
Yes, exactly. There were Black people doing well.
And they were formulating their own.
They were formulating their own economy outside of white America, and that was scary as shit.
Yeah.
To the wealthy whites in that area. Right. And so they just they trumped up a cause and then just burned it down.
Yep. They flew planes over the main street
Mm.
on their own citizens, on Americans.
Right. Yeah. Well, right.
With an right, with an asterisk. And
Right,
that's
yeah,
the thing, like that, and this is, maybe I'm getting into the weeds here, but as long as, and this goes back to othering, as long as we continue to other and say, you're that kind of American, you're that kind of American, you're that kind of American, then it is sort of a white supremacist idea that just say this American value. There are probably certain folks that use that term to essentially mean you're white and you're entitled to all the fruits of the American government, and everybody else kind of gets the scraps or worse.
Right. Or worse. Yeah. Or the bomb, the fire bombs.
Or the bomb.
Yeah.
Or we get, because you pray differently, look differently, wear different clothing, we get to decimate your, part of the world because you have oil. And we're hopelessly, wildly drunk on oil. So it's like America's like this out of control alcoholic.
Right. Pretty much. We're the drunk uncle.
We're the drunk uncle.
Yeah.
At the party.
So that gets back to the, so that gets back to the whole unity thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're casting aspersions on an entire, on America.
Yeah. On a good, I mean, that's the thing that I'm having a real hard look at too. Like Kirsten and I were talking the night before the inauguration, like what we learned. Yeah. And I learned a lot about.
That video you guys posted was fantastic.
Thanks, man. Maybe I'll post it on our Instagram.
So it was really, truly, genuinely heartwarming, because I remember Kirsten crying 4 years ago.
Yeah, I do too. Yep.
Just crying.
Yep.
Out of fear and anguish.
Yes, because
how did this happen?
Well, that's the thing, is we were talking about, like, we were crying and scared and upset, knowing full well that because we're white privileged people, we were probably stood to benefit from this administration.
If you want to,
But Kirsten works with marginalized communities here in Lincoln.
Yes.
And she knew what that win for him meant to the families that
terrifying.
And she instantly, this is to her credit, she instantly that next day got on her phone, made a Facebook event, and did, We Stand United, and started community organizing out of that energy.
Amazing. And to her credit, and I may have told this story. If I have, you can stop me, but I helped out with that first event. Honor.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember seeing, because I used to work for the local paper, right?
Yeah.
Being a young reporter there, was obviously like an intern, covering the event. And it was very clear at the event that this was not an anti-45 event.
Right.
This was a pro-peace, pro-love, and there was nothing anti about it.
Yeah.
Which was to Kirsten's credit as a person and as an organizer and as a visionary.
I can totally credit, because I remember being I was like, what's all this, why don't we cause a protest and a ruckus and do all, I mean, I was full on angry and pissed.
Right.
And she's like, there's better energy for being for something than against something.
Well, I'm going to say it. That was always the Grateful Dead's deal.
Exactly.
They were never anti anything.
Right.
They were always pro whatever. They were never anti any. That's why they wouldn't let, like, Abby Hoffman use their microphones.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to happen on our stage.
Mm-hmm.
You can go be loud and angry over there. We're going to be over here just being loud and having a good time over here. Take your pick.
We're gonna embody liberty, and you can go be anti whatever you want. But
we're gonna embody everything America's actually should be about.
Yeah,
which is doing your own thing and making money at it. Yeah, and not hurting anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
some people might hurt themselves, but
right.
But so
how does that relate to now? Like,
I want to finish the anecdote here, which is that this young reporter, the next day in the Journal-Star, was the headline: anti-Trump event at Capitol. And I was like, oh my God. So I called friends of mine who are on like the city desk and said, that's absolutely 100% factually incorrect.
Yeah.
Your reporter got it absolutely wrong, because there was nothing anti-Trump about that event. His name wasn't even fucking mentioned. So how did that end up as a headline in the paper? Because they were very apologetic.
Yeah.
And little retraction,
Mm-hmm.
but like that's like that she was trying to seize her moment to
Yeah. Yeah.
get the scoop, and she blew it.
Yep.
Absolutely missed it entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget also at that event, a truck driving by on the whatever K Street run by the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
Get a job, hippies. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. Like, you fucking morons. Just keep
Thanks to labor unions, we're not working. Most of us aren't working today.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's
Jackwad.
Saturday, you idiot. Which has just set the tone for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
People with flags in their truck going, get a job, hippie. Like, actually, we're doing this in our spare time.
Yeah. Don't tread on me unless it's, that boot. I want that boot to tread on me.
Right. Yeah. So here's the thing, getting back to the whole unity thing.
Yeah. Bring it.
I'm struggling, buddy. It's the thing of like, there's this fantastic app that shows you in real time what of your friends and neighbors and colleagues and parishioners, people in your life that would have joined the Nazi party in the 30s. Ooh. It's called Facebook.
Oh man, you totally lured me in on that one. I bought that hook, line, and sinker.
Well, but I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks. That the one good thing that's come out of this is that we all know who the Nazis are.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can say, well, I'm not a Nazi, but I do support kids in cages.
Right. You can't.
And I do support the Muslim ban, and I do support it, just on and on and on and on.
Right.
So it's like, well, I know who all those people are now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, pillars of my church.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible racist shit on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then other pillars of the church liking it. It's like, so how do I, so how, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what do I do with that?
Well, this is something that's coming to me as you're posing that question, Steve. To take it directly from my amazing wife, Kirsten Valborg Egger. What are we for? And this is the question that I think I was experiencing 4 years ago. Is like she was trying to, it'd be real easy to mete out retribution. That doesn't mean people shouldn't be held accountable. Doesn't mean justice shouldn't be served. But what it means is, because of what I heard in that Biden speech and what I've heard since is a lot of both, right? Like, what do we want to be? Because I don't like the thing is like, this is not America. I'm like, no. That's this January 6th was exactly what America's always been. Yeah, Let's not lie about that.
Right.
But what are we for? Like, what are you for? And politics start here and I'm pointing to myself. Politics begin in how I arrange my life, my thoughts, my beliefs, my values, about what I take action towards and what I let go of. And politics begin in my near vicinity with the people around me. Politics are how we arrange ourselves. So you can't say you're not political, you don't get into politics, because then stop drinking the water and driving on the streets.
Right. When people say, "Oh, I'm not political," that just means I am too afraid to stand up for a side.
Or I've benefited too much from it that I don't have to care.
Also true, yes.
Mm-hmm. So like, that's what I would say to myself, what I would say to our listeners, what I would say to you is the same question still exists with every president that gets elected. All right, what are we for? Because when people lead, leaders follow, and that's the real heartbeat of democracy or a republic, if you want to say it. Sure. Is like, what are we for? What are you for? What do you want to bring about? And I think that I definitely am guilty in the 8 years that Barack Obama was president, was like, well, I don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? I didn't call my representatives. I voted, but I wasn't engaged.
Right.
And I've been more engaged in the last 4 years than I ever have before. And I have no feeling of like, well, my particular team is in the playoffs, so I don't have to care anymore. It's like, no. I want all my leaders to be held accountable. And I don't want authoritarian dictatorship, no matter what flavor it is.
Right.
And I am for peace. I am for justice. I am for reconciliation. I'm for progress and getting better, like doing better with our collective resources to benefit the entire globe and sustain the earth.
By raising one person, you raise all people.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's what I would say. And that's probably very idealistic, but
Okay, so follow me on this for a second. We're
okay.
going through the Harry Potter movies again in our house.
Nice.
And we've been watching them while, like, between January 6th and today, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
so I had this thing where I mean, I think it's pretty clear there's a good side, there's a bad side, just like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Black, white, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dark side, Jedi side, whatever.
Right. Yep.
And I think those forces are the yin yang, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very much a thing. So while watching the Harry Potter movies, I realized, or had it dawned on me, that Donald Trump was Draco Malfoy,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Acting all
Mhm.
big and tough until somebody confronted him, then he'd and cry and whatever.
And
And
slink away.
right, yeah. And
Yeah.
then there's like the next level would be Draco's dad, whose name was what, Lucius?
Lucius. Yeah. Lucius.
Yeah, Malfoy. A little more together,
Mm-hmm.
little stronger, a little
Mhm.
more resources, right?
Yeah.
And to me, he's represented by the like 1%, 0.1%,
Sure.
and corporations that own
Right.
our government, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that control the purse strings,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
With no real care about anybody but the shareholders, because they're legally mandated to do that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But then there's Voldemort. And
Mhm.
to me, what hit me is that Voldemort isn't a person or an organization. Voldemort is just greed.
Yeah. Or even a step further is ego.
Yeah, sure.
Ego, like
Yeah.
pure. And that's the thing that Kirsten and I were saying the other day. It's like, the sad thing is, and I do feel like I don't, it was strategic and maybe it was cowardice. I don't know. But watching the former president sneak away on Marine Force One,
Slink away.
and I'm like, well, that's what ego does.
Yeah.
When it's gripped so tightly to itself and it can't let go,
yeah.
it can't face the defeat.
Right,
And I'm like,
right.
the compassion of that is like, I get that. Like
Sure. Yeah.
my ego has experienced that where it's like, it's
Mhm.
just too much.
Locked in. I've got too
Yeah.
much invested here, and I'm not backing down because I
can't back down because
Yeah.
I've been told by whatever people in my life that you never back down. And that's been my religion for so long. I have no
Mhm.
choice but
Right.
to
Keep doubling down.
and to sneak away
Mhm.
and to, not ever have to face the music. It's not even facing the music. It's not like, it's just
Face the people.
face the people, face the
Mhm.
facts,
Face the facts. Yeah.
face reality. I mean,
Mhm.
just look at, I guess I've said this for the last 4 years, and I wish I should write this essay, but like I've always said, like, we have to impeach the Trump within us first.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We need to, that's,
Yeah, I
I
remember you saying that.
mean, if we're ever going to get anywhere, we have to bring that part of us from that reckless ego, completely self-serving part of us. We have to bring that to the court of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to put that on trial
Mhm.
with love, but with justice and accountability, and say, this isn't going to work. Like, you can't keep doing this, and the body politic of yourself
Mhm.
is not going to be sustained.
Want to bet?
Well, I mean, who among us, I bet there's folks that are still supportive of that person that kind of probably would admit, yeah, I don't know that the Republic would have lasted another 4 years.
Right.
I mean, and that's the thing, like, I don't want to get too wishy-washy weirdo, but it's like, you have to remove that. You have to impeach the egomaniac dictator inside of yourself first.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, then it's just about revenge and retribution. And I want to see everybody, and we're just going to rule by executive order, and we're going to stop everything that side does, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, until you're able to recognize the tyrant within and put that one away, or at least, serve them and impeach them and remove them lovingly, to let a higher truth come in and work, there's no hope. There's no hope for unity, because then you're just at war within yourself.
Yeah, and I struggle with that. That's real.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I mean, I spot that because I got it. I'm not speaking from any sort of spiritual hilltop here.
Right.
Like, because I've said in the confines of my home over the last 4 years, I've said horrible, horrible things about leaders in our country, right? Like horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that part of myself. Like, that's not the kind of person or leader I want to be. So enacting that is just keeping the cycle of violence in motion.
So are you would you say like you're working towards Harry Potter, or are you more like I'm more like a Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the
That's not a
background,
bad.
just trying, I'll have the bravery to stand up against my friends if they're being
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
On a good day I'd like to be Hagrid.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
nowhere near Dumbledore status.
I like Professor McGonagall.
Yes, very much
I
so. On my best days, I think I'm Snape.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think there's so much there though, because reading the books, Snape is always sort of painted as this just evil guy,
Mm-hmm.
until those
Not
last
though.
couple of books. It's like that was such a head spinner when I
Mhm.
read those books, and it was like, what? Like, he may have been this like just quiet hero this whole time,
Mhm.
Mm, mm,
I had a teacher like that. That I could really relate, because he was very, like, on the surface cruel,
mhm,
could be, and
mhm,
intimidating,
mhm,
but underneath that he was deeply, deeply caring,
mhm.
and that was just his way of cutting through the bullshit.
And probably having like really good boundaries with students. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Yes.
giving this healthy space between,
Mm-hmm.
and probably pained him to be so strict, maybe sometimes.
I don't know.
You think he liked it?
Yeah, yeah, but ultimately, when it mattered and when it was called for, he was exceedingly fair and kind,
Yeah.
and
Mm,
aware of the fact that being a teenager was really shitty,
yeah.
you
Mm.
know. And so anyway.
Man, I mean, we could have a whole podcast about teachers in our
Mm.
lives, you know. Mr. Hastings, my high school theater teacher, literally quite literally saved my high school diploma just by being himself.
No, that's wonderful.
You know what I mean? He just was like
Mhm.
unafraid to just be himself and like let us all be theater kids in the middle of
Mhm.
nowhere, Nebraska. Mm.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that we've got a lot of work to do, and I did not feel that way when I felt that way 4 years ago. I have to admit, in full disclosure, I thought like there was some sort of victory and we could just coast for a while when my team, won the election or whatever.
That
And that's
have you not seen, like, well, I'm back to movies now, like Lord of the Rings,
right. Yeah.
like
Right.
those eternal struggles of good and evil,
Hmm.
like that's those stories exist because that's the reality of the world we live in.
Well, and as I go way down the rabbit hole of Star Wars, I'm looking
Hey, are you still there, dude? You
at
just froze up.
I did.
Yeah, you're good now. We're back.
Okay.
Star Wars.
The legends of Star Wars, it's like, well, at every cycle, you think that, the light won and beat the darkness, and
Mm-hmm.
then they have more, and it's like,
Oh,
no. I mean, this is a cyclical thing for a reason, and we will be stuck in that wheel of suffering until we really see the truth and accept the truth and work towards getting out of it. I mean, it's like, the cycle of samsara, or the cycle of pain and suffering, is going to repeat itself, and that's part of it. That's part of the path. Like, this is, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is supposed to happen, but there's something really important about the return and the retelling and the moving forward. I think that we get a little further along this path as we go.
one of the things that stuck out to me in that book of joy today as I was coming home was And that I've been so guilty of this. That's why I just stopped posting on Facebook. That whole, if you don't have anything good to say, just shut up.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I had to take a couple digs yesterday, so I did, but just because it was too good. But that you're not, if you're trying to make a point, being acerbic isn't going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's
just not,
it's not. You get more. It's not flies with honey, but it's kind of like that. It's like you know how
it's attraction rather than promotion.
It is
like you have to live and be in such a way that your whatever enemy or person that you disagree with or that disagrees you sees you and your life and demeanor and says, I want to be more like that guy.
Mm-hmm. And that example starts with the inner personal work,
right,
of healing the trauma, because I could see that, like, the retribution and the projection of this whatever leader, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever it is, that everybody's just trying to attack that leader because they have unresolved within them. I mean, yeah, it's bad that there's dictatorship and they're oppressive. Like that's you could take work to work against that, but that work is only going to come from a good intention if you've healed some shit inside yourself.
And that's 100% true, because that's prior to me doing a lot of that work. I was an angry young man.
Same.
And I had nothing positive to say about anybody or anything. And there's still some of that lingering there, but that's it's better. It's better than it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, totally. And that's so true. Cause like you get stuck in that. I mean, it's so that's a a snake eating its tail, that if you, exactly. If you just, that energy is so addictive. It's it feels so good and bad at the same time.
Right. Well,
and so it's so easy to stay stuck in that bitterness.
This may not be the hippest source in the world, but the thing that really started me on like acknowledging that was a long time ago, was Billy Joel's song Angry Young Man. If you're not familiar with it, check it out, because it's fantastic. And the last line of it is, and he'll go to the grave an angry old man.
Or my counter to that, which I've always thought of, people like Donald Trump or leaders in that way, or just people that have clutched their money so much that they pushed everybody away, is a little ditty by Pearl Jam called Soon Forget. Sorry is the fool who trades his soul for high-rise rent. He thinks he'll get the girl, but he'll only get the, like, it's just like this great song about somebody who's so lonely. They're clutched to their money, their ego, their self-importance, and it keeps them angry and it keeps them lonely.
Like Tommy Shelby.
Right. From Peaky Blinders.
Tommy Shelby, yeah. Later seasons, yeah. Yeah. Where he's in his gigantic castle all by himself and
just drinking and popping pills and lonely. Yeah.
He's got
Tony Soprano.
Tony Soprano, yeah. Well, he was who travels the fastest travels alone.
Yeah.
That's a song. I can't remember who says that now. Anyway.
So I don't know, guys, like, don't shut yourself out. I mean, that's if this unity thing is actually going to be possible, what are the parts within us that are,
so you're saying it starts, you're saying it starts from within each of us? Is that what you're saying? And that we have to heal ourselves,
trying to say that,
to even begin to think about healing the rest of the world. So you're saying we have to try to be better ourselves? Is that what you're saying, Joel?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. As corny as that sounds, but that's the title of the podcast, and I didn't plan it that way. But the thing is, like, this in a marriage, in a union, with your children, with your parents, with whatever. Yeah. Like, unless you reconcile that stuff first, there's no way for that person to even have a shot.
That is very true in my life. That is very, very true in my life.
There's no way that's going to even work, because I'm just going to be so clutched to my self-importance, ego,
or fear,
Oval Office,
or
whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
know, so
gosh.
impeach the dictator within you all first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be
Well,
sure to give the scared little kid some love.
yeah. Yes. And that's I mean, that may be the best impeachment. That may be the best
Mm,
removal of the tyrant, is to recognize that that tyrant just wants to be held,
yeah.
loved, heard,
Mhm.
saying, dude, it's okay. Like, like I'm sure there is, a recent US president that probably would have just loved to have heard, like, hey man, I love you, Don, no matter what. Like, you don't have to earn all this and you don't have to make as much money as I did, kid. You're okay. Go, you're fine. If you want to be an actor or a TV star, go for it. You don't have to be a big businessman. Let it go, man. And like, maybe if somebody like that heard that, we wouldn't, we wouldn't be where we're at. And how do I tell myself the things that I need to say to keep myself from being a tyrant? I don't know, man.
I don't either. But I think we haven't done anything here. I don't think.
I think we talked about, I mean,
We,
Aaron said, he's like, man, I really, it's like when people tell us, like, I've gotten texts from people that I haven't talked to in a long time, like, love the podcast. It's really helpful. I love listening to it. It's really cool. It's helped me a lot. It's like,
that's nice.
I'm not saying we're any sort of experts, but I think what is cool and what I'm not going to back down from or shy away from is the power and the art of conversation.
It's
that
important.
if you and I can, and we're pretty similar, but if we can do this here, if we can have a way to connect, then it doesn't necessarily look past wrongs, but it's like, can we address them? Can we be open to the darkness, the ugliness, the shit, and look at it and deal with it and get it out into the light so that we can heal? I think that's totally possible. So I don't know.
We have
You may
to
say I'm a
learn.
dreamer, but
It would be nice if in our education system people were taught that as like a skill.
yeah.
And also critical thinking would be good too. But
And how to do taxes instead of like how to square dance. Were you taught how to square dance in high school and junior high?
I don't remember. I was loaded.
I remember being taught. I saw a meme today. That's why I thought of it. It's like, me, please teach me how to do my taxes, public schools. No, motherfucker, we're learning how to square dance today. It's like, why do I need to know? I've never had to square dance out there at the clubs.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's because you didn't go to the right clubs, Joel.
I apparently didn't go to the right barns to square dance.
No, dude. There was what was the name of that country club in Lincoln? It was huge.
Guitars and Cadillacs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 500 people line dancing all at the same time.
Line dancing, though, is different than square dancing.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's I don't know. Play more ballroom, maybe. I don't
play
know.
more ballroom. Maybe we could get some. Well, I'm sure there's polkas. That's kind of close.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man, remember polkas?
I fucking love polka, man. I do.
Speaking of folksy music, you've been playing some country.
Yeah, I'm playing. I don't know if it's official or not, but I've been invited back to go play in play lead guitar in an outlaw country band. Doing some Hank Williams, doing some Merle Haggard, doing some Johnny Cash. We're even throwing in Hey Joe and Wang Dang Doodle, some Howlin' Wolf.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so far it's a lot of fun. The band leader's a really nice guy, and he's got a million guitars and is just a wealth of knowledge and
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. I'm pretty excited to be back out at it again. So when
you like going to somebody's place and playing?
Yeah. I'm playing in this guy's basement.
Awesome.
Everybody masks up and
awesome.
Pretty respectful of that whole thing, and which is nice. And yeah, it's really cool, man. It's nice to strap on the old jammy pack again.
Yeah, strap on that jammy pack, dude.
Strap on that jammy pack. One of the original songs that guy wrote in the song. It's very Brown. It's very just kind of repetitive and droning with these nonsense lyrics.
Yeah,
and it's great. I was not expecting. It's an original song. The one that the members wrote. But it made me think of Ween. I told him that, and he was kind of like, there was a pause. He wasn't sure if I was being complimentary or not. I don't know. It's great.
Here's a copy of 12 Country Greats, buddy. Listen to
Ween. No, it reminded me more of like, oh God, Tender Situation.
Oh, okay. Right on.
just kind of looping and slow and trance out. It's really great.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm playing guitar again, is on
It's
a
awesome.
semi-professional level. It's cool.
I'll put on some tight Wranglers and some boots.
Yeah,
and a
dude,
hat.
do it.
When you
Go
guys
full
when we
on. Go full on. What was the dude in Boogie Nights when he went to the cowboy?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I've only seen that movie like one time.
Okay,
And whenever anybody says Boogie Nights, all I think of is one, Roller Girl,
yeah.
and two, it's my big dick.
I'm ready to fuck
now. So
yeah, well, you should watch again. The best line I ever heard about that is it's a complicated movie about uncomplicated people.
yeah, nice.
It's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
Yeah.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Oh, dude, he's so
William H. Macy.
Mhm.
It's fantastic.
Wahlberg is fantastic in that.
He's
too.
fantastic. Yeah.
Well, when you guys can play shows, I'll put on the plum smuggling jeans and
Do it. I love it, man.
Mike Z and I will come out and
Yes.
shake a tail feather.
That'd be great. I love it. Yep. Nehaka. I think that we play in Nehaka, Nebraska.
Nahaka?
Nehaka. It's on the way to Plattsmouth.
Oh, I know. I'm familiar with Nahaka.
Oh, okay.
I think my mom used to live there. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you think?
I think it was. I know she had a church there. She's listening to this. She's like, Joel, you don't even know where I lived. Call me more.
Love you,
Mom.
Mom.
I'll call my mom. I love you, Mom.
Well, okay. I don't think we solved anything, but I think we did it.
You know what? We could have rippled some attempt at unity out there, or at least maybe that's the hope, is that somebody out there that just maybe we got better, maybe somebody out there got better.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man.
I'm trying to, man.
I'm trying to be the shepherd, Ringo.
I'm trying real hard, Ringo. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd.
It's the one that says bad motherfucker.
We're just going to start quoting stuff and the references are going to get out of hand. So
That's
we better
fine. All right.
Find us on
Instagram.
Find us on the grams.
Email ttbbpodcast@gmail.com if you're still listening.
Yes. And toot your hooter, please.
Toot your hooter. I mean, seriously, if there was ever time to toot it, this is it.
Toot that hooter, y'all.
Yep.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.